Good morning. Today, my group and I, Paula Moreno, Ángela Moreno, and myself, Laín, are going to talk about the effectiveness of the implemented inventory management method, analyzing a case study based on a manufacturing company called Texas Instruments ENC. The correct and effective inventory management is a crucial factor that forms part of the operations of production companies. Numerous methods have been scrutinized and enhanced in recent times, but they do not necessarily align with individual company practices. Furthermore, advancements in technology that support production necessitate particular actions in the management, warehouses, and inventory. The following research project examines and analyzes certain aspects of inventory management and assesses its implementation in a particular company, Texas Instruments ENC, as I have mentioned before. It also investigates the procurement of crucial raw materials over the last few months, taking into account the Ukraine invasion and the resulting limited availability of production materials. That is why our research project will be divided into four parts: introduction, the setting problem and the legal framework, description of the program and the proposed solutions, and finally the critical evaluation and a brief conclusion. So, inventory management in modern enterprises is one of the main challenges faced by managers in a given area. It permeates decision making in countless firms and has been extensively studied in the academic and corporate spheres. According to Wanke, inventory management involves a set of decisions that aim at matching existing demand with the supply of products and materials over space and time in order to achieve specified cost and service level objectives, observing product, operation, and demand characteristics. There are some key questions which are usually influenced by a variety of circumstances which inventory management seeks to answer: when to order, how much to order, and how much stock is needed to keep a safe stock. That is why choosing the most adequate inventory management model is essentially an empirically based decision that may involve the use of simulation, scenario analysis, incremental cost analysis, or qualitative conceptual schemes, also known as classification approaches. Nevertheless, enterprises like the one analyzed in the project that use non-renewable resources in their processes are increasingly looking for alternatives in their inventory methods, which is not always possible. Additionally, the current situation in Ukraine, together with the sanctions imposed on Russia, have a direct impact on the activities of many companies and their decision-making processes. Although currently the availability of raw materials has improved, their prices remain very high, and despite the relative stabilization of the situation abroad, it is difficult to say with certainty that enterprises are no longer threatened by a complete shortage of materials. The following paragraphs of the project will follow the structure suggested by the guideline provided, by critically analyzing inventory management in a selected manufacturing enterprise, as well as presenting the impact of recent political developments on inventory management. Besides, it will present topics to the method of inventory management in manufacturing companies, the problems associated with them, as well as inventory management solutions that can be used in the analyzed enterprise, and finally a brief conclusion referring to the situation as a whole. Moving on to the background of the problem related to regulations, the main issue with inventory pertains to the difficulty of regulating the quantity of products or materials that a business possesses in order to fulfill customer needs. This is a crucial component of supply chain management, as inventory quantities can greatly affect a company's profitability, customer satisfaction, and operational efficiency. In the past few years, there has been a growing emphasis on the control of inventory levels, especially in sectors that must adhere to rigorous safety and environmental guidelines. For instance, businesses that handle dangerous chemicals or materials may be obligated by law to maintain specific inventory levels to ensure the safety of employees and the public, and to make sure that they can respond to emergencies and prevent accidents. Internationally, institutions such as the United Nations and the World Health Organization have implemented standards and rules pertaining to inventory management in various sectors. For instance, the International Civil Aviation Organization has established guidelines for inventory management in the aviation industry, setting standards for the transport of dangerous goods by air, including requirements for the proper packaging, labeling, and documentation of materials. On the other hand, governments may set guidelines concerning inventory management at the national level, especially in the industries that are essential to national security or public safety. For example, in the United States, the Department of Defense has implemented regulations regarding inventory management to ensure that military operations run smoothly with strict inventory control procedures for its suppliers, and companies that work with the government must comply with these requirements. Besides the regulatory constraints, businesses may encounter inventory-related hurdles due to evolving market conditions, variations in consumer preferences, and disturbances in the supply chain. A successful inventory management system demands a blend of strategic planning, data analysis, and operational efficiency. Businesses that can proficiently overcome these challenges are more likely to sustain their competitiveness and achieve long-term success.
So good morning everyone, I'm Paula and now I'm going to talk about the problem and the solutions that we propose for our problems. So competition can have positive and negative effects on the companies. Of course, if we are leading the market, we have a positive effect and we will make more money. However, it can also have negative effects. Companies can disappear and there are monopolies and their prices rise and it's a disaster. So we want to be in the positive part. And we have to look for a competitive advantage, which can be based in internal or external factors of the company. And we do not only need to focus on a good marketing strategy, for instance, we also need to focus on the very basics of the company. For example, in our inventory, which is the origin of the raw materials, it's everything of the company in reality, because without it, we do not have anything else granted. We can have an incredible marketing campaign, but without a good inventory management, we do not have anything to sell. So regarding the context of the Ukrainian war, we know that in many companies around the world, we have the availability of less availability and we have higher pricing. So the management of the inventory it's even more essential and we have to pay even more attention to it to survive to this crisis. So now that we have explained our problem, we're going to focus on two main aspects of our company that are essential for the management of this problem. They are the relation with suppliers and the inventory method organization and synchronization between the technologies and what is really happening in the inventories. Now let's begin with the relationship with suppliers and how important it is for the management of the inventories in the context of the Ukrainian war. As you know, this war and other circumstances around it have caused shortage and increased prices in the raw materials of many companies around the world. So what is the normal reaction of companies? As soon as there are materials available again, they want to take full advantage of their warehouse because they don't want to interrupt the supply chain and stop the production. However, this is not the best idea because it has drawbacks. We have an excess of inventory that is not necessary and we have associated costs because having things in our inventory is not for free, of course. So what's our goal? To find balance between inventory levels and sustainable relation with consumers. Here we can see in the screen the evolution of the resource 1 and 2 supplies during the months of January, February, and March. And we can see that in January there's a normal level of supplies, but in February there is shortage due to the crisis. So what's the reaction in March? We buy a lot of products. Why? Because we only have one supplier and we're fully dependent on that supplier. So we're going to propose a solution. Regarding our empirical experience and our analysis, we have seen that having a healthy relation with suppliers is essential. This means having a diverse relation. Here we can see a graph of the resource 3, and it's very different from the resource 1 and the resource 2 evolution because we have 4 suppliers instead of 1, that is what we had in the other 2 resources. Here in the graph down, we can see the evolution of the 4 different suppliers, and they had different prices, different circumstances, but we were not dependent of one of them. So we did not go down on February on supplies, and we did not have to go crazy and buy a lot in March. Of course, we bought a little bit more, but not that many more things. This gives us a stability as a company, and it has a minimization of the impact of external disruptions. Because it's not the ideal to have 1,000 things in the inventory, it is expensive. So our solution is the diversification of suppliers. So now let's talk about the second main problem that we have, which is a lack of synchronization in our inventory methods. In the ERP system, which is like the technology of the company, let's say, however, we will see later what it is more in detail. It follows the FIFO principle, first in, first out. However, in our physical inventory, we follow a LIFO principle, which is a last in, first out. So what is the reason for this discrepancy? It's the accessibility of the workers. The workers, as we can see in this image, they position the oldest things up and the things that arrive later down. And then when they want to take something for put it in the factory or whatever, they take it from down because it's more accessible and it's faster and they save time. However, what it's reflected in the technological systems of the company, the ERP, is not true. So we have to solve this because then decisions are made on the basis of this technology and it is a lie and we don't have a real image of our inventory. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, our company uses ERP system that is a technology of the company. However, it's much more than that. So it is a software system that organizes in the same place, in the same system, different functions of the company as accounting, procurement, project management, and supply chain operations. It can be used both in small businesses and large multinational corporations, and the thing is that it mixes all these things together and gives us informed decisions and improve the overall efficiency. However, what is the problem? That these decisions are not informed if the information is wrong, and we have a wrong information regarding the inventory. Why? Because we said that in reality we don't follow the FIFO method but the LIFO method. So we have a problem because our decisions, if we base them on the system, they are wrong. So now that we have seen the problems of our company, we're going to see the proposed solutions. The solution 1 and 4 are based on our paper, so we were not very creative. However, the solutions 2 and 3 are based on our investigation and our knowledges of the financial accounting subject. So let's see what you think about them. Okay, so now let's begin with the first solution that we proposed. It is the physical reorganization to FIFO. So in this case, the reality of the inventory adapts to the ERP system. And at first sight might be the easiest and cheapest solution because it's just in reality moving things from one place to another one. However, we consider that the side effects of this solution has really high costs because in the situation of crisis, of a little bit of uncertainty, this could lead to delays in production and increased labor costs due to the reorganization of the whole inventory. Also, we would not like to have a disruption in the operations of inventory right now, and we consider that FIFO is not suitable for our company unless in this moment, because it's one of the assumptions of using FIFO is that it has a continuous and uninterrupted flow of materials, which in this moment is not true at all. Okay, so here we have one of the solutions that we thought about on our own, and is the adaptation of the ERP program to the reality of our inventory. We consider that technology should serve reality and not the opposite. However, we have to take into consideration that an ERP program integrates not only the inventory, as we mentioned before, but other parts of the company, for example, the supply chain. So it could mean that we would have to make a full reconfiguration of the system, and we also should train the workers to work with this new system. Also, we consider that we needed to take into consideration the legal regulations regarding LIFO system because it's less used than FIFO. However, we saw that in the US we could use it perfectly, the LIFO system, and there were only limitations for textile shops, which is not our business, so it's okay. And regarding the taxation, we have to consider that it would change. So we have higher costs of goods sold because, as we mentioned, we are in a situation of rising prices and a lower net income, which would also mean lower taxes, which is nice for us. And it would also mean bad news for our financial investors because our health, the financial health of the company, would look worse. However, we have to consider again that we are in a situation of crisis generalized around the world. So this is another solution that we thought about, and is that based on what we said about the suppliers, we saw that each raw material has different circumstances. So we considered that depending on the raw material we had and the situation of it, we could use different systems, FIFO or LIFO, and we could combine the advantages of using both. However, this would require a huge investment and a huge analysis of items allocations. Maybe not an economic investment, but a time investment. And we would also have to do modifications in physical inventory and the ERP system. So it is not as before changing one or changing another. No, it means changing both. However, it could work if we had a huge amount of materials, which is not our case and it is not our situation. So we consider it is not the best option. And here you have the last solution that we propose, which is the radio frequency identification scanning technology that tracks the movement of inventory, like of the different materials, and ensures it is being issued in the correct order. And this can improve real-time tracking of the inventory and ensure that the physical issuing is aligned with the accounting records. So the workers of the inventory can take whatever they want and whatever it is more comfortable for them. If they want to take the things that are in the racks down, they can. Because due to this system, what will be registered in the ERP system is what they take. And they would have more liberty, and based on their ERP system, we could make informed and real decisions. However, we have to balance the profitability because the system, of course, it's a huge investment and we have a low inventory. We may not have the needs to make such an investment. However, we should also consider that in balance, we would reduce the labor costs and the workers would have more liberty to do whatever they want and taking the materials they want as it is more comfortable for them. We would also increase the productivity and the accuracy of our ERP system, and we would reduce the errors on it. Also, we would need a high control of this point.
After having explained each solution by itself, we are now going to compare them, analyzing their benefits and disadvantages. The first solution is the physical reorganization to FIFO. As benefits, it has that it aligns warehouse with ERP system and FIFO principles, that it can improve accuracy of inventory management, and that it is cheaper than the rest of the solutions. On the other hand, as cons, there are three of them. The first one is that it requires significant time and resources, then that it may disrupt warehouse operations, and last, that it may not be suitable in situations with raw material shortages or delays. The next method is the adaptation to ERP program. It has two advantages that are that it aligns accounting records with physical inventory, and that it can be beneficial in environments with rising prices as ours. But a disadvantage has that the costs are higher due to the reconfiguration of the system and the retraining of the employees, that the LIFO accounting can result in lower net income and in a higher cost of goods sold, that there can be tax implications, and finally, that the decision can have significant impact on financial reporting and analysis. The third solution is the hybrid method. This combines the advantages on FIFO and LIFO principles, and it also can improve the accuracy of inventory management. Besides, as cons, it may involve additional costs for implementing and maintaining the system, and this system may be more complex to implement and manage, and also unnecessary for a company that has a small variety of inventory and also a small quantity. The last solution is implementing RFID, which improves inventory accuracy, reduces labor costs, increases productivity in warehouse operations, and finally provides real-time tracking of inventory. Then, the drawbacks are that it can involve significant costs and that it may not be profitable for a company with a small number of raw materials. To conclude, as we have seen, there are different benefits and inconveniences when trying to choose an inventory management method for a company. In order to decide between the four solutions given, many factors have to be taken into consideration, such as the cost, the accuracy, the existence of raw materials, the tax implications, and many more. Before saying what solution is the best one in our opinion, it is important to note that this may not be the suitable solution for every company due to its specific circumstances. For big companies, the best inventory method for us is to implement a RFID because even though it can involve significant costs, it improves inventory accuracy, increases productivity in warehouse operations, reduces labor costs, and provides real-time tracking of inventory. We firmly believe that the benefits it offers compensate for the cost. Then, for smaller companies or with a small number of raw materials, we think that it is better to do FIFO compared to ERP because it is less expensive, and though it requires time and resources, the pros it has are more beneficial to smaller companies than any other method.